Now you see me, now you don't. I had been saving up for the biggest music festival of the year for several months now. My favorite band, the White Stripes, was one of the bands that were headlining. It was almost as big as Warped Tour and it was only for one day. But things were not going well for me concerning the festival. My best friend Brian, who I was supposed to go to the festival with, had gotten sick on the day of the festival. I offered to stay back but he would not allow me. Then my car had a breakdown when I was on my way. Luckily, I have worked with cars ever since I was 14, so I was able to sort it out. Now, my favorite The White Stripes t-shirt was drenched in liquor, all because of someone who had rammed into me from nowhere. The worst part, all my spare clothes were in my car, which was parked very far away. "I'm so sorry, dude. I was not looking where I was going," the culprit said. I looked up and I saw that it was a guy a little bit taller than me with blonde hair. From the look on his face, I could tell that it was not intentional. "It is okay, dude. I just have to go and get another shirt, I guess," I said, turning to walk away. "Wait, you are also into the White Stripes? I have a spare t-shirt that is in my bag if you want it," he smiled. "It's okay, really. My car isn't far," I said. "You and I both know that is not true. It's the least I can do for ruining your t-shirt," he shrugged. "Fine, if you insist," I said. "Come with me," he said. I followed him until we got to a place that was quiet with fewer people. "Okay, here it is." He took it out and handed it to me. Then I took off my shirt. I could have sworn that I saw him check me out, but that was probably in my imagination. He smiled, showing very beautiful pearly whites. "Awesome, let's go enjoy the rest of the festival. And I need another drink," he winked. I just went along with him because he seemed really friendly and he had been nice enough to give me his t-shirt. We talked a bit in between the dancing, and I found that we had a lot in common. He was also from my city. He worked as a car sales manager and he had a brother. I worked as a mechanic, so we both knew a lot about cars, and that is all we talked about. I had that feeling you get when you meet someone super cool and you get along with them. He made me feel less sad about coming to the festival alone. It was almost too good to be true. It was the first time in a long time that I met someone who interested me as much as he did. Combined with the high of the festival, I did not want the night to end. We were slightly tipsy at some point and only a few bands and stalls were left, so we went to sit on a couple of rocks away from the people. "I know I've only met you today, but I have never met someone quite like you. You made my night," he said. I could say the same. I got a bit braver and I placed my hand on his. He did not pull away. In fact, he came closer. The connection between us was undeniable, and I think he knew it too. I had a lot on my mind, but the one thing I was thinking about was how to make sure that this moment lasted. Then he made the choice for me. He leaned in and kissed me. Maybe it was the alcohol in my system or the adrenaline pumping through my veins, but I could have sworn that I felt fireworks. And when his lips left mine, I wanted them back. We looked at each other for a while and I knew there was a lot more to him. He was different to other people. Just then, he checked his watch. "Shit, I have to go. My brother had just arrived to fetch me." "I get it," I said. Then we kissed each other one more time and he left. I sat on the rock for a couple more minutes, replaying the events of that night. I could not believe that I met a guy I had so much in common with and we had shared a magical kiss, and I could not wait to see him again. But wait, all I got was that his name was Tommy, but I didn't have his phone number or his surname. The feeling I got right then was the worst ever. Deep regret and anger. How could I have forgotten to ask for his number? This was a one-day festival, and tomorrow there would be nothing left. All I knew was that he was a car sales manager. I had no idea where he even worked. The city is big. Finding him would be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. When I got home, I was so depressed. I called my best friend Brian to find out how he was doing, and I told him about the guy I met at the festival. And like any best friend, he wanted to whack me over the head for not getting his number. Even I wanted to hit myself over the head. How stupid was I? A few days later, Lady Luck smiled down on me because guess who I saw at the store? Tommy himself. But as I was about to make my way over to him and greet him, a girl came out of nowhere and she kissed his cheek. At that moment, he looked in my direction, but his gaze swept over me. I was gutted. I knew that it was too good to be true. I had thought that I found a connection with this guy, but here he was, with a girl. I didn't even stand there for another second. I went back to my best friend's house and told him what had happened. He reassured me that I did not need someone like Timmy, and so I decided to forget about him. Then one day, I was asked to go and deliver a car I had just finished fixing to a dealership right across town. I had never been to that dealership before. I delivered the car and I waited for the manager so that we could make sure that all of the paperwork was in order. "Chris, I can't believe it's you, dude." A very familiar voice suddenly boomed. I turned around and I saw that it was Tommy. I was surprised and I thought I would never see him again after that time at the grocery store. "Hey, you. It's been a while, yes. How are you doing though?" I smiled. I was already over what had happened, and since he was a cool guy, I was willing to just be friends with him. "Doing better now that you are here. We have to go for lunch together. What are you doing after this?" he asked. Not a lot. I'm basically done for the day, I said. Well, let us go for some lunch, why don't we? He said. I agreed and we had lunch together. Getting to know him even more, he seemed to be better and better. But I was careful. I knew that he had a girlfriend and I did not want to get involved in whatever was going on between them. I saw you this one time, at a grocery store, but you didn't see me, I said. Oh, why didn't you say hi? He asked. You were talking with someone, I said. Right, okay, he responded. This time, we actually did exchange phone numbers and we texted nearly every day. I also met up with him several times, but it was so difficult to resist him, because the more I got to know him, the more I liked him. But I kept it at bay and did not say anything to him about it because he was in a relationship with a girl as well. I asked him this other time if he was bisexual and he said no, he wasn't. So I assumed that he was straight and that kiss was just a drunken kiss. There were times when I thought he was flirting with me, but there was no way since he was straight and he had a girlfriend. And I saw him with her several times, but he acted like he didn't see me when he was with her. I did not bring it up with him though. One day, he invited me over to his place. It was my first time there. We ordered some pizza and played games for hours. We were just having fun and a good vibe. But every time his hands grazed mine, I felt something. But I did all I could to ignore it because I knew we could not be. Then after the games, we talked about life. So, how's your life going? I asked him. Really well, actually. It's great when you have someone special to spend nearly every day with, he blushed. I assumed that he was talking about his girlfriend, so I faked a smile. I'm so glad to hear that, I said. Gosh, you are so slow. I thought you would have made a move by now, he signed. What? I exclaimed. Then he kissed me. For a second, I forgot about everything else because that kiss was just like the last one, but more intense. Maybe because I had been resisting for such a long time. But then I remembered his girlfriend and I pulled away from him. Oh, shit. We should not have done that. I am so sorry. I can't believe. I just kissed someone's boyfriend. I am so sorry, oh my gosh. I was freaking out. And I was also very confused. Hey, what's wrong? He asked. You have a girlfriend, that is what's wrong, I said. He looked at me in confusion. No, I don't, he said. I could not believe that he has the nerve to lie to me right now. I felt sick to my stomach as I thought of what I had done. Dude, how could you do something so shady though? I asked him. I have no idea what you are talking about. I do not have a girlfriend, he said. How did you break up? You know what? I cannot deal with this right now. I want no part in your drama. You are a good friend, but I would like to leave now, I said as I got up. Okay, he said as I left his apartment. I was having a lot of mixed emotions. I liked him, I had wanted to kiss him for weeks, but he had a girlfriend and was lying to me about her. I regretted meeting him in the first place. He toyed with my emotions and now I had to pick up the pieces. He texted me several times, but I switched off my phone because I did not want anything to do with him. I ate ice cream and watched movies while wallowing in my sadness. The next day at work, I got told that I had to make a delivery at his workplace again. I tried to get out of it, but ultimately, I had to do it. I did not want to face him after what happened last night, so I drove the car to his workplace and hoped that it would not be too awkward to see him. When I got there, I was lucky enough to be informed that he had gone out. Someone else helped me with the paperwork. However, as I was leaving, I bumped into him. And guess who he was with? His girlfriend. I got really upset because he had sworn yesterday that he didn't have one, yet here he was. Tommy, what the hell? I whisper-yelled because I did not want to cause a scene. What are you talking about? He asked me. You told me that you didn't have a girlfriend, but I caught you red-handed today, I said. What is your problem? What do you want from my boyfriend? The girl said. Your dear boyfriend here kissed me last night, I said. What the hell? You better have a good explanation for this, she said, turning to glare at him. But he looked very confused, proving just how good he was at acting. What's going on here? I heard Tommy say, but his lips were not moving. And then from behind him, another Tommy emerged. I was confused as hell. Who is Tommy here? I asked. Both of us. I'm Tom and he is Thomas. Our mom thought it would be great to give us similar names just because we are twins. And now I understand why you were mad at me last night, Tom said, who I guess was my Tommy. A wave of embarrassment washed over me. Everything made sense now and I felt like such a fool. He had told me that he had a brother but not that it was his twin. Oh my word, I am so sorry, I said. It's okay. There is always confusion over us because of our names and the fact that we are twins. But you can tell the difference because he had a mole and I don't, Thomas chuckled. You are so lucky that it was a misunderstanding, his girlfriend chuckled. Indeed, Tom laughed. Yeah, I am sorry that I didn't mention my brother. He is hardly ever in town. I didn't think of the fact that you could bump into him, Tom said. Thomas and his girlfriend said goodbye to Tom and I was left alone with him. I suddenly felt really shy because of the way his blue eyes were boring into mine. Suo, we kissed. Again, he said. Yes, I said. And you pushed me away. He smirked. That was after I kissed you back. I smiled. Fair enough. Would you like to go on a date with me? he asked. Yes, I grinned. Later that night, he came to pick me up. And guess where he took me? The bowling alley. I could not help feeling nostalgia when we went there. It had been such a long time since I went there. Wow, you can't do that. Not fair, I said. What isn't? He asked coyly. You taking me here. Now how am I gonna top that next time we go out? So we are going to go on a second date. He grinned. Maybe. I pretended to be deep in thought. Before we went bowling, we had some food at the mini restaurant opposite the alley. There we just talked about nothing and cracked jokes. Being with him, I felt as if I could just spend hours in his company. I regretted that I had been under the wrong assumptions about him for such a long time because of a misunderstanding. But he told me that we just had to live in the moment and not dwell on lost time. After eating, we went bowling. We bowled against each other and laughed the whole time that we were there as we competed with each other. Being around him always made me feel like I was alive. In the end, he won and I was not even mad about it. I just told him that I would win next time. I found that we shared some of the same values, which is very important if you might end up in a relationship with someone. He valued honesty and kindness above all else, and that made me like him even more. After our date, we walked for a while because we did not want the night to end. The way that I loved spending time with him. It flew whenever I was around him. His hand lightly grazed mine, and when it did, my heart fluttered. Thanks for tonight. I've always wanted to go on a date with you, he said. Me too. I never thought I would see you again after the show, I said. We got caught up in the moment, and I guess. He said, like now. I smiled as I pulled him in closer to me, then we kissed. It felt so right. My blood pumped faster as his hands got tangled in my hair. I think I've better get you home, he said. Why? I asked. I might get tempted to take you to my place. He said, maybe I want to go there, I said, suddenly feeling such desire. As tempted as I am, we have all the time, he said, kissing me on the cheek. I grinned as we made our way to his car and he drove me home. And we had more dates after that. We had a few double dates with Thomas and Brianna as well. And soon they were both very good friends of mine. I fell more and more for him with each date. Not that he was perfect. Sometimes he annoyed the life out of me. But because our energies were so in sync, or something like that. I have always been logical, but I somehow feel as if our meeting was fated. But that is just me speaking because I have fallen in love. All because of a beer that got spilled on me. And a very silly misunderstanding. But I would not change a thing. The end. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force and stay wholesome.